The difference between a capable machine and a great one isn't raw performance. It's how little you have to think about it. VCore 4.1 is the VCore 4 experience, now fully realized. Since the release of VCore 4, thousands of users have been running this platform in wildly different contexts, from home workshops to professional production environments. Over time, a clear signal emerged, not a demand for more power or bigger numbers, but for a smoother, more refined experience with fewer interruptions, a machine that simply works. So, instead of chasing novelty, we did something more deliberate. We listened closely to how VCore 4 is actually used, and we invested our time in perfecting that experience. VCore 4.1 isn't about changing what the machine is, it's about unlocking its full potential. Let me walk you through what that looks like. So, what does perfecting the VCore 4 experience actually mean in practice? It means rethinking the parts you interact with the most, removing friction from the build and from daily use, and making the machine behave more consistently. Let's start with the area where all of that comes together, the toolhead. The VCore 4.1 introduces a completely new, full metal toolhead designed from the ground up around rigidity, cleanliness, and ease of ownership. For the user, this translates into more stable motion and cleaner prints, especially at higher accelerations. But it's not just about print quality. The new toolhead is also easier to assemble, easier to service, and far cleaner internally. Wiring is shorter, more direct, and properly managed, which reduces both visual clutter and long-term failure points. Cooling is one of the areas where VCore 4.1 makes a genuinely meaningful leap. The redesigned duct and custom 4028 fan delivers significantly stronger and more uniform part cooling. This translates directly into better overhang performance, cleaner details, and far more headroom when printing demanding geometries at higher speeds. This isn't a subtle tweak. It's one of the most impactful performance improvements in the entire release. One of the most repeated pieces of feedback around VCore 4 wasn't about performance at all, it was about wiring. With VCore 4.1, we moved decisively toward a true plug-and-play toolhead architecture. The new toolhead is built around the Orbitool O2S toolboard, and a key advantage here isn't just shorter cable runs, it's simplification. By eliminating the need for a separate voltage rail for the 4028 fan, we were able to consolidate everything into a single, clean umbilical. Compared to the previous setup, this reduces the toolhead wiring down to just a handful of conductors. Fewer cables, fewer connectors, and far fewer failure points. Visually and mechanically, it's now a true umbilical, and that makes the machine easier to build, easier to service, and more reliable over time. On top of that, we now provide fully pre-made wiring harnesses wherever possible, something many users have been asking for since VCore 3. No wire stripping, no crimping, every cable is pre-cut, terminated, and clearly labeled. For builders, this removes one of the most time-consuming and error-prone parts of the entire assembly process and makes future maintenance dramatically simpler. The benefit is simple: faster builds, fewer mistakes, and a machine that's easier to maintain months or years down the line. Another major refinement in VCore 4.1 is the move to a steel X-axis gantry. This wasn't done for stiffness alone. In real enclosed machines, mounting steel linear rails to aluminium extrusions can introduce subtle bimetal behavior as temperatures change. That shows up as inconsistency, especially in the first layer. By moving to a steel gantry, we dramatically reduce that effect. The result is more consistent layer stacking and a noticeably more reliable first layer, particularly in enclosed environments. This is the kind of improvement you don't benchmark, you just feel the issue disappear. But hardware is only half the story. Stability on paper doesn't automatically translate into stability on the first layer. To fully unlock what the steel gantry enables, VCore 4.1 ships with the latest RatOS 2.1 firmware, focused entirely on consistency and repeatability. For most users, the pain hasn't been following setup instructions, it's what happens after. You do everything right and still end up chasing first layer inconsistencies that change from print to print. RatOS 2.1 directly targets that problem at its root, bringing 3 key improvements that work together to deliver more reliable first layers on VCore 4.1, an improved compensation mesh, enhanced multi-point true zero measurement, and adaptive heat soak. The new compensation mesh and multi-point true zero make first layer calibration more robust and repeatable, even with natural variation in print surfaces and conditions. In practice, this means the first layer you dial in is the first layer you actually get, print after print. Alongside that, adaptive heat soak adds intelligence to the startup process. Instead of relying on fixed wait times, the system adapts to the current thermal state of the machine, removing guesswork and helping maintain consistency across different usage scenarios. The result is consistent first layers and far fewer surprises, with fast, predictable starts driven by the thermal stability of the new steel axis gantry. In practice, this means less time dealing with inconsistency and more time letting the printer do what it's supposed to do: print. Hardware gives you potential, software decides whether you can actually reach it. Beyond the headline changes, VCore 4.1 includes a long list of smaller refinements that add up to a smoother experience. Printed parts were subtly redesigned to improve printability and assembly, the total number of heat inserts was reduced, sensitive components like the X-axis end stops are now better protected against accidental damage. None of these changes are flashy, and that's exactly the point. They remove friction from moments that shouldn't demand attention. Importantly, VCore 4.1 doesn't change the underlying frame. All existing panels and enclosures remain fully compatible. New machines ship as complete VCore 4.1 kits, fully equipped and ready to build. Existing users can update their machine through the VCore 4.1 upgrade kit, with an optional IDEX upgrade for dual toolhead configurations. The goal was always to respect the investment VCore 4 users already made and give them the experience they've been asking for. VCore 4.1 is available now, both as a complete machine kit and as an upgrade for existing VCore 4 users. You'll find all the details and links in the description below, and as a small thank you to the early adopters, for the first 10 full machine or upgrade kit orders, one spool of filament is on us. Just add it to your cart and it will be free at checkout. As always, thank you for the feedback, the pressure and the trust. This is the VCore 4 experience, refined and finally at full potential. Until next time, my name is Sonat and this has been Retri TV.